Hi guys, today I want to make a little video about what's going on in my life. Today it is the first time that I have vacancy, which means that I have no school for about 9 days, so 1 week and 1 weekend, which makes 9 days. And today I feel like shit. I'm preparing myself for ayahuasca. I'm going to ayahuasca within 6 days, and yeah, I have no idea. My thoughts are racing all the time, and as you may have seen in other videos, I speak about being possessed by an evil spirit. And this spirit is constantly putting random and negative thoughts in my head. I also feel the attachment, and it may sound crazy, but it is constantly giving me like signs and thoughts which are satanic. And sorry for the background, but as you can see here, my dog is playing and he will make some noise, or she will make some noise. But about the thoughts, I get satanic thoughts in my head. For example, this dog, I love her very much, but I get thoughts about abusing her. And this is fucked up. And this is just one thing, if I walk on the street and I see people, I start to think bad things, Is it sexual or aggressive? I just start to think bad things. There's no possibility to think something positive. And this is just like a few things. I have so many things and I cannot even say everything because I cannot remember them. I just forget them. But in the moment I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And again, today is for me a shitty day because I woke up without putting an alarm on my phone. So normally I wake up very early and then I go for a run, and then I'm basically in a good state for the rest of the day. But today I didn't wake up early. I didn't went for a run. I just woke up. I drank water with lemon and eat some oatmeal with soya milk. And normally I should feel good, but today I don't feel good at all. And for me, it is definitely a sign that I should keep doing these habits because I don't feel good. And yeah, I want to make a video about this. I have no idea actually what the purpose will be, but as I can see on YouTube, there are a lot of people who speak about schizophrenia, about hearing thoughts in their heads. And I have my own vision or my own perspective on schizophrenia because in my case, I have schizophrenia too, but this is something which happened a few years ago. It started to happen like 5 years ago by having a bad trip on LSD. And most of the people on YouTube speak about having a bad trip or like a paranoid attack during smoking marijuana or using drugs. And in my case, it was the same. And then I really felt something coming into my body, into my energy field, an entity. And from that point on, I started to hear these voices. I started to get these commands, these voices were basically leading me into a direction. And this is also what I see on YouTube. But most of the people, they don't realize that they are possessed by a spirit or that they have something with them which give them these thoughts. And this may be the reason why I want to share this video, because I am convinced of the fact that there are people who are experiencing something similar like me, but they are not aware of being possessed. They are not aware of these evil powers that are trying to control them, to destroy them. And I hope that by sharing my story that I might be able to maybe give them another perspective. Not that they have to believe it, what I'm saying here, but I think this is all the best thing that I can do is sharing my story. And I have no idea if I will, I want to say my whole story about this, but I'm actually not convinced that I should bring this in this video. But what I can say is that this voice or these voices, because I hear multiple voices, it's like that you are putting the radio on 5 different channels. Like I just get random voices, too many to count, I just can't count them. So it is not easy for me to focus on positivity because all the voices are negative. And I think that 80% or 90% of the time I'm just thinking negativity. And it is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I'm thinking negative thoughts, but they are planted in my head by other entities. But by thinking them, I'm basically radiating this energy, and then I am attracting negativity towards me. So, this is something crazy because I don't have the power myself to change these thoughts because they are here. And some people will say, yeah, but this is your ego and all those kinds of things. And probably it is. It is partly my ego, but I'm telling you, the thoughts that I get are so perverted, so aggressive. It is crazy. And these voices, like I told in my other videos, but in case you didn't see them, these voices are asking me for blood, for blood sacrifices. They're asking me to sin, to do satanic, crazy shit. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in my early ages, so right now I'm 23 years old, but at the time that I was 18 years old, I was a drug dealer. I also ended up in jail for 1 month and a half. But what happened during this period is that I also got possessed during this time by taking LSD. But when I became possessed, I was not aware of what was really going on. It is different than the awareness that I have now about this subject, but at that time, there was something with me, and I knew it, but it was giving me some kind of abilities, of powers, and this may sound crazy, and probably a lot of people will judge this, but I am speaking truth, 100%. So what happened is, right now I am possessed and I'm carrying an entity. But there were times before now that it was worse, that I really had times that I was driving my car and that my eyes would turn in my head, hearing conversations extremely, getting extreme nightmares where I would see my dog being possessed by something, or spirits that attacked me during night, also raping me sexually during night. I had those experiences, and I still have these experiences, but at a much lower intensity. But 5 years ago, that was the time when I had these extreme experiences. Also a while later, but what basically happened is that this evil spirit had abilities. So I thought that I had abilities, but this was just of the spirit. I had a spirit with me, and this spirit had abilities. And if I smoked weed, so after I became possessed, if I smoked weed, I was basically opening the door, opening the channel for the spirit to gain more control over me. And what happened is that this spirit basically got a kind of a mental ability, which means that I thought that I had the ability to telepathically influence others, but I was doing it, but I was just being used as a vessel. This spirit was doing it, and I have no idea what it exactly was, but I was able to telepathically manipulate people. And what I did, so at first I didn't know what it was, because when I got possessed and I tried to smoke weed, I always got a huge panic attack. And after a while I told myself that I should smoke less weed. Well, I quit it first, right? I stopped smoking weed because I was not able to handle it. But after a while, I told myself that I wanted to smoke again. And then I started to smoke very, very, very little weed, like 1 puff at max, or 2 probably. And I was able to stand these thoughts, this panic attack which was coming up. And when I overcame this panic attack, when I was able to let go of these evil, fear-based thoughts, I was basically channeling this spirit. And I felt really like I feel right now, but now I don't smoke anymore, or I don't take drugs or drink alcohol. But also right now I feel that there is an entity attached to me. But at the time that I smoked weed, I was channeling this entity, and I felt like fire, like very hot, dark, black energy with me. And by smoking weed, I was giving this entity more power over me, more control, but also more power in general. And what I saw is that this energy is an energy which is very charismatic. And once again, this is not who I am. This energy is just radiating this charismatic energy. And right now, I don't think that it is radiating this right now, because when I smoked weed, I just had to walk up in a room and everybody would look at me instantly, gaze towards me. And it is hard to explain what I felt, but this being gave me this power, or this being was radiating this energy, and because it is attached to me, I thought that I had the power, that I had this ability, and because all the people were looking at me and I was able to attract all the women that I wanted, I just felt so powerful, right? And I have no idea what you should do in my case. Of course, people will say, yeah, you never should do like something like this. But in my case, I was spiritually anywhere, I was spiritually dead, and I felt so powerful. I was able to attract all the women that I wanted. Everybody was afraid of me. Like, normally I would try to get away from groups with tough people, but now I was just walking up to them and they would open, they would go away and make place for me, make room for me. And because I was, or maybe I am, but I was a very insecure guy, I wasn't able to talk to women, and I got in this industry, or in these environments where they teach you how to seduce women, how to attract women, and it is just all based on ego and darkness. But as I said, I was spiritually unaware. But what happened is that because of this energy, I felt so powerful, and because everybody was looking to me all the time, and I was able to attract all these women, I just smoked every day. It became a habit to me, and I didn't smoke like one joint a day. It was most of the time like 1 or 2 puffs, and before I knew, I was just a puppet. It was just controlling me. This entity was just using me for his own purpose, and I was just becoming somebody who heard voices in his head all the time, and I was attracting people to me because of this energy, but I was attracting like negative and dysfunctional people. But again, I was not aware of this at that time, and I just kept on going because I liked the way how I was able to approach people, how I was able to intimidate them, manipulate them, and yeah. But to make a long story short, of course, there came a time that I met a girl, and she was basically the only one and the first one who, maybe there were other people before, I have no idea, but she was the only one and the first one who told me that I had multiple personalities, which was true, but she was the only one that told me. And right now she's my girlfriend, but at the time that she gave me this comment, she wasn't. But her comment was like an arrow in my heart. It was like, this comment was so hard, but also so true. I felt the power of the truth, like, coming into me, and because of her comment, I told myself that I have to change, that I had to change. And this is also what I'm trying to do right now. This is about this is about 2 years ago, I think. About 2 years ago. And when she gave me this comment, I quitted going out. I quitted going to parties, and I started to do ayahuasca, which is the medicine plant from the Amazon. And at the time that I went to ayahuasca, I had a few entities with me. I could feel them, and sorry. And by doing ayahuasca, right now I've done about 20 or 21 ayahuasca ceremonies in about 2 years or something. And by doing ayahuasca, I am basically able to let go of these entities. I'm 100% sure that I had a few experiences where I was a witness of an exorcism, that I would shout and cry, and not just crying, there are different kinds of crying in ayahuasca, but I was like shouting, and there was something that was trying to kill me, but there was also a moment of relief, and then I really felt the spirit coming out of my body. But the big one, the root of this problem, of this issue, is still in me, is still in my body. And this is the reason why I'm still hearing these voices. When I still get these voices trying to get me on drugs, try to get me to gambling, to seduce women, to masturbate. All these voices, they are still with me, but I am not acting upon them, right? But it's very hard for me because there is not a moment of relief yet. And I went to churches before. There were people who were praying for me. I did a lot of things. I went to Peru. I went to Mallorca, to do different kinds of medicine plants. But I'm still in the process, and I have to accept that this is not a quick fix. And The thing is that if you watch YouTube videos, there are people who say that Jesus came to them, or that they just prayed once and they were forgiven for their sins, and they were free souls again, and sin was gone, evil spirits and demons, they were gone, all gone. And I don't say that I don't believe them, but in my case, this is going on for a few years, and I pray daily, I meditate daily, I go to church often, to Sunday churches, people pray for me, and still I'm not free. But I am also in a position of accepting this and just keep on going, because if you say that you are drinking ayahuasca to Christian people, I mean, this is the things that I saw on the internet or read on the internet, is that they will say that you are like a new ager, right? And sometimes I believe it, but I mean, if I look back to the process or to the progress that I made by drinking ayahuasca, I just can't accept these statements, because I believe that the plants are just made from God too, and if God made the plants, then the plants are also part of Jesus, are also part of God. So I think that ayahuasca and Christianity might overlap each other somehow, or are overlapping each other somehow. But I think that the people who are fully Christian, and I respect them a lot, I talk a lot to these people and I respect their perspective. But I think in my case, or in other people's places, or in the case of other people's problem, I think that there must be another opportunity to be healed from these diseases, mental diseases, schizophrenia, or whatever you want to call it. And in my case, I believe that ayahuasca is a solution, and this is the reason why I'm still doing ayahuasca. And I'm going back within 5 days, and I will do 3 ceremonies, each day 1. And I have a feeling that there will be a relief, that there will be a breakthrough, because the last ayahuasca ceremonies, ayahuasca showed me that I had to go to my father. I lived my whole life with my mother up to 6 months ago, and then, so right now, I'm living with my father. And since then, a lot of things changed in a good way. But there is still like a pull, a gravitational pull to get me back in these dark environments. And I just followed the science of ayahuasca. I'm following the tips, the science, and everybody which is showing to me. And I follow the things that they told me, that ayahuasca told me. So I'm very curious what will happen during the next ceremonies. And yeah, this is the reason why I want to make this video today, just to share this. I have actually no idea if this will help anybody or anything, but at least I'm doing something to share my story, and I really want to share my story. There are a lot of things that I want to share, but there is, like I said, there is a force trying to hold me back to do the things that I should do in order to, help other people. Not that I'm saying that I am a helper or a guru or a teacher or whatever you want to call me. I'm just a guy with an experience, and I want to share my experience, and hopefully I can help somebody, or maybe I can start some interactions, which I would love, because there are a lot of people who they are not aware of this, and they are also very close-minded about these things, which I fully understand, because I was the same a few years ago, because I became possessed by using LSD, but this was also, let's say, the switch to become spiritual aware. So this is also, I saw a video, a TED talk, which was about psychosis or spiritual awakening. There was a difference, but they're also somehow similar. And I'm convinced, like fully convinced, that I am possessed and influenced by evil spirits. But I also know that because of this experience that I started to awaken. So as I said, this is a process, and this is one of my videos where I speak about my progress. So I'll definitely make other videos. I know that my English isn't perfect, but hey, it's all about the energy, right? So thanks for listening, guys. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to say something, just leave a comment below. I would love to have an interaction with you. Bye bye.